LAJOS KOSSUTH, the leader of Hungary's liberation struggle. From the Suomi-Unkari magazine, issue 10, 1952. It is the magazine of the Finnish-Hungarian Friendship Society. LAJOS KOSSUTH, the leader of Hungary's liberation struggle. This year the people of Hungary celebrate the 150th birthday of LAJOS KOSSUTH, the greatest Hungarian statesman of the last century and the organizer of the liberation struggle of 1848. The Hungarian Revolution took place in March 1848 without bloodshed. On March 15th, the people of Pest succeeded in overthrowing the feudal property relations without armed struggle and in implementing Hungary's sovereignty. On the basis of this victory, Kossuth was able, at the last legally required diet in Pozsony, together with the revolutionary majority inspired by the revolution in Pest, to pass the laws juridically confirming the bourgeois transformation and national sovereignty. Thus, the regulations enabling serfdom were abolished, and the first independent Hungarian government was founded. But the Habsburgs considered their concessions only temporary, and the duty of the Hungarian revolutionary camp was to meet and repel the predictable attack by the counter-revolution. The leftist leaders of the revolution, Petőfi, Tancsics, Magyras, Kossuth, etc., several times encouraged the nation to be vigilant. On July 11th, Kossuth requested the first parliament 200,000 soldiers and 42 million forints to secure the material and armament prerequisites of national defense. The parliament accepted Kossuth's proposal with unanimous enthusiasm. During the summer, the emperor's forces had drowned in blood the rebellion of the people of Prague, had gained a decisive victory over the liberation forces in Italy. On August 31st, the emperor demanded in a decree that the independent Hungarian war and finance ministries must be abolished, that is, merged into the corresponding Austrian ministries. On September 4th, he ordered Jelačić, the Ban of Croatia, to gather Austrian forces in Croatia for an attack on Hungary. These two measures by the court clearly demonstrated to everyone the bankruptcy of the Batahan government's compromise policy. Batahan handed in his resignation in the name of his government. On September 11th, Jelačić led his forces across the Drava and started approaching towards Buda. On September 29th, despite the hesitations of their chiefs, the forces of Dunantul struck against the forces of Jelačić and gained a decisive victory. The parliament declared the emperor's demand to dissolve it as illegal. Soon it handed executive power to a new revolutionary organ, the so-called Bureau of National Defense, led by Kossuth, which replaced the government that had resigned. In those days, Kossuth showed his tireless energy, enormous ability for work. He made a proposal to the parliament that the military be mobilized, and the parliament accepted it unanimously. Hungarian soldiers abroad were called home. On September 24th, Kossuth went to Alföld to call the people to arms. His path was one of triumph. In all parts of the country, tens of thousands of youth rushed to join under the army's flag. Meanwhile, the Hungarian troops pursuing Jelačić had proceeded all the way to the Austrian border. On October 6th, a new rebellion broke out in Vienna. The workers and university students of Vienna took to arms and prevented troops being sent against the Hungarians. The tyrant of Prague, Count and Field Marshal Windisch-Gratz, began sieging the heroic city, but the Hungarian army, whose duty and also its interest would have been to unite with the brave defenders of the city, did not cross the border but idly watched the siege for 3 weeks due to the treacherous actions of Artur Görgy. Görgy agreed to break into Austria only when the proletariat of Vienna was expending its blood on its final barricades and suffering an ignominious defeat at Svetszat. After the defeat at Svetszat, Windisch-Gratz invaded Hungary in December 1848 with superior forces. Görgy surrendered Győr without a fight, kept retreating all the way to Budapest, and regardless of Kossuth's orders, continued retreating without a fight. He surrendered the capital and thus forced the Parliament and Bureau for National Defense to move to Debrecen at the beginning of January. There, Görgy embarked on an enormous, pointless troop movement that eventually took him to the mountains. Kossuth did not lose hope even in this situation. He only increased, strengthened his organizing work, and presented as the model for the nation and the generals a famous Polish revolutionary general Bem, who advanced victoriously in Transylvania and liberated it completely by March. He encouraged the broad peasant masses to form partisan detachments. The activity of the peasant partisans contributed to Vindichgrad's not advancing to Tisatul during the winter, which gave the revolutionary government a breathing spell and a time to prepare for the battles of the spring. By the end of March, the National Defense Army, which had become stronger both in numbers and weapons, went on counterattack. On the main front, it achieved victory after victory, and in less than a month beat the enemy back to the Austrian border. Simultaneously with the victorious spring operations, there was a shift towards the right in internal politics, inside the camp of the revolution. After the move to Debrecen, those forces gained an ever larger majority in the parliament, who in the autumn had agreed to resistance only due to the pressure of the Pest population and called themselves the Peace Party. As a result, the left had already in March demanded Kossuth to dissolve the parliament, which Kossuth declined to do, but on April 14th he made the parliament accept the Declaration of Independence, which stripped the Habsburg court of the right to the crown of Hungary and declared Hungary an independent republic. Kossuth was chosen as the prime minister of the government of the Republic of Hungary. In February, an army of 165,000, led by Austrian General Heine, invaded Hungary. But the Austrians didn't come alone. From the north to support them came the Russian army of 193,000, led by Prince Ivan Paskevich. Against this tremendous superiority in numbers, Hungary could only send 172,000 soldiers. Initially, Kossuth trusted in the support of the Western powers, but this trust was without basis. There were contradictions between the great powers, but they forgot them when they had to unite against the feared Hungarian Revolution. After the military operations starting in the summer, Kossuth ordered the commanders of the army to retreat with their troops to Temekes, because the liberation war can be expected to win only if the Hungarian forces unite and defeat the Austrian and Russian forces separately. But Görgy did not hurry his retreat, and when he made it to Temekes, Bem had already suffered a decisive defeat. The government resigned on August 11th. Kossuth had to flee abroad. On August 13th, Görgy shamefully put down his arms in front of the enemy. The liberation struggle suffered defeat, but the memory of Kossuth lives in the heart of the Hungarian people. He gathered the forces of the Hungarian people to fight for independence against oppression in the decades of reaction. And only today, in the era of the building of socialism, the words of Kossuth in 1848 are truly understood. Quote, "Let us trust in ourselves, and in the bosom of the peace won by the enthusiastic power of the people, the free country of Hungary will rise and flourish like a paradise." Unquote.